Hello, Blender folks. Welcome back. This is Gnomes, and today we're gonna improve some very critical stuff here in the character design. Grease pencil model sheet of Dorothy. This character here, of course, with the hair is like this. Okay. So I found a very critical problem with the character design for the, it relates to the model sheet. It relates to wrong assessment of proportions. I'm not sure how I reached that stupidity. It's very tough, but what happens is that I found out this for there's a while already. I figured this out, and I fixed on this other character here, which is based on the same rigged model, right? But it's a different character design, not from the cast, as this sorceress here. And we have so it's not completed, it's work in progress. This is for Fab. I will publish this, try to sell this character with that character design anyways. And so the problem is the following. I had the wrong assessment for a very long time. I've been swapping those over and over again. Probably what happens that when drawing, right? First, the 2D character design is different from the 3D character design in this approach, right? It can never match entirely, so it's always some sort of approximation. But beyond an approximation, I prefer to call it a different style, like a 3D style adapted from the, so it's an original style based on the in 3D language, artistic language, that it's similar in some ways to, it's referenced by the 2D style. So it's a variation of the style that only works in 3D. However, okay, at least the proportions of a model sheet, they should match, I think. But then the wrong assessments that usually for drawing 2D, probably if were doing in a team or for 2D animation, right? 2D traditional animation or stuff like that, then probably I would do a 2D model sheet. But when I draw myself the cars, I don't need model sheet, right? I know by heart how to draw them. But it doesn't mean that I always draw them with the perfect, accurate, or just approximate. Usually the proportions are accurate in drawing, but when it comes to the model sheet, there might be some imperfections. And turns out that I found that there's a big imperfection here. Maybe it would work for drawing. So this is a question I cannot be sure, because I've drawn some versions here that looks good to me in 2D, but maybe there is some, like this is a very smooth, like you see. Okay, the problem is that when I bend the legs with the rigged model, so I'm not sure this is a problem with the deforms, something about the regular way of skinning that creates this, because of the joint that right? Or if it's just that the legs, for example, or that I've drawn the card too much stretched, and especially on the legs. But so I have to revise this. And so as I did here already experimentally, as to not have this crazy effect, I'll show what this looks like. So if you have the armature object here, of course we need to look for this. We need the okay, what's going on here? Okay, let's disable this. I'm not sure it's here. Anyways, we're gonna get like say all the control bones, and then okay, the character maybe looks good in the typical, right? She looks okay, but then happens that when we pick this leg, any leg, and we're gonna try to pose this like of course without the stretching here, but let's do a XGZ, right? So you'll see, yeah, ignore the bendiness. That is, I think it's because of the, yeah, just something about bendy bones that I need to fix. You see how far this this calf, this shin bone goes. It's, of course we have the boots, but we can so this is not good, right? It could have to do, also it may have to do with the positioning of this thing. So this is a more complicated problem. Some riggers, they would use a knee bone, but this for the, and this is a good strategy. I would put that just as a deformed bone. I wouldn't like to have a, so you can, I don't need to complexify the control skeleton, as long as we have some sort of offsetting of the deform rig. It's not optimal, right? Or the mechanism rig could be also, and that will probably help solve stuff like skinning on these joints. It's plausible. I've already tried that. The results are actually usually good, but then there is a problem with the automation of that joint. And when it comes to inverse kinematics, if you are using the system control, this breaks the rig. This creates some weird posing there for that extra bone in between, right? And because sometimes it gets posed in some inconsistent way. Nowadays, maybe I know a way to fix this with the inverse kinematics panel. And so here, so it doesn't mean that I need to fix the control rig. Yeah, maybe I can keep this like this and just develop further that setup for the mechanism and hence deform rig, right? Altogether. So this could solve a lot of problems, but it's a different approach, and of course, as anything in rigging, this is super more complicated. We should be able, but that won't solve this problem, right? This might improve a little the deform is not, lots of riggers don't do this, so it's not absolutely necessary to do like that. But you see something that starts to happen here because of this approach, the more basic approach, right? But we can use helper bones to mitigate this, right? Anyways, the problem here is that the calf is too elongated, and it's likely that if I cannot just shrink the mesh and the bones and because it's proportional, right? So I need to reshape the entire proportions to make this match. If I just change the legs, I'm sure this will cause very absurd things, like he'll start to have very shorter legs in relation to the torso. So this is something that needs to be done visually, right? And it's kind of tough, but it's very feasible. But it's pretty dangerous, right? So I need to be extremely careful with this. But I've decided that it is the time to be doing this, because yeah, I need to make the character good enough, right? And this is fundamental. I maybe in some posings we never consider this problem, but it's evident for me right now that this is happening. So enough said, we can go on edit mode for all of this mesh, but we're gonna simplify some stuff here. Fortunately, in this approach, you see that the floor, this is for character design, the floor is here, so it's not in the head won't change, so I won't touch the head mesh. So I don't probably anything for the face I need to change. So this is fortunate. So you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. And then I probably can also hide some face mesh stuff. Yeah, we can hide everything from the the head, right? Well, we have some problems here. Let's do this differently. Let's just select this with normal, right? So then we can hide this thing. Okay, now we get something that is more adequate for scaling massively. This will force me to reposition the bones, but it'll be just a relatively simple reposition, so not a big deal. So I need to select all again. And now the trick. So yeah, actually let's make this into a highlight because it's kind of crazy, right? Could be useful as a reference. Let's bring this. Is like retaking proportions, dangerous, yeah, destructive retake of character design proportions workflow. How do you call this? Yeah, this is a workflow, but it's actually a very technical workflow. There should be better, maybe there's other better ways, but yeah, precise workflow, yeah. Meshes and skeleton, yeah. That is both things right here, because we need to address this for both. Okay, so I have all this, and now I need to pick this 3D cursor. Let's make sure it's in the world origin, and I think this is wrong, right? We need to change here the 3D cursor. Yeah, this is wrong, of course. So instead, so let's compare here with the other file. There's another Blender file. I don't want to mix the character here because, you know, maybe they bring some corrupted data. I don't want to mix files. Yeah, we can clean up then in the delete everything, then clean up in this stuff. But I don't know. I'm always suspicious of unused data, right? Cleans, right? So I'm always suspicious about that. So I prefer not to. So I'm gonna do everything from. Also, we want X-ray here to make sure that we are picking all the mesh. Actually, I'm gonna unhide because I need to make sure that no mesh is hidden anywhere. So we're gonna redo this. Okay, then we're gonna pick this and maybe this, certainly this eyelash too, so to prevent any accident. So now probably we want to move this 3D cursor, right, to not Z, actually is rotation. So the character is measure something like this, right? So I already know. So this is not the top of the head, but doesn't matter. So select all these vertices and yeah, so this scale on all orientations is dangerous. So it's not yeah, I'm picking out the mesh objects because this will improve the clothing. So what I'm gonna do is something a bit, even a bit more okay, this is a gun here. I will hide it. We're gonna pick actually I'm not sure about if there's some mirror modifier applied to stuff there. Yeah, I think there's an applied mirror modifier for this plot, so probably we'll have to. Okay, so the question, do I pick the arms or not? No, I won't pick the arms because they will maintain their proportions. So this is, I see how this can get complicated. We'll pick the neck maybe. So we're gonna make a little leverage of the... Yeah, this could cause some problems of the... Okay, so there's one part. We're gonna pick the torso here, right? We're gonna ignore the arms, we can do that later, but it's... yeah, we're gonna try something like this, right? We could use proportional editing here. Like this. So now what we need to do, we're gonna scale this up to... I even gonna scale just the Y, no, along the Z axis. So it will be some sort of squashing of the whole body proportionally, right? And then I will gonna match. So you see the currently, if you count the squares, Dorothy, I'm not counting the heads we need to do here from the top, but the head will be, I think, here, right? But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's okay, remember 8 by default, but then we start to, the floor would be here, so it's like she has like wow, she's very tall actually for this. Interesting. Okay, we can use this to count as better. So is the head really here? Yes, it is. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, yeah. So she has like more than 7 heads of height. Not 7.5. Not 8. This is weird for this character design. I didn't expect that actually. But this is actually the reason why this is happening. 2 big legs for this girl, and actually if she had this kind of legs, probably she'll need also a more elongated torso as well. So then maybe the thighs, yeah, so there'll some big problems there. Also, I'm not sure if I do this shrinking, I'll fix all that problems, right? So, but anyway, so we can test that, and we can, okay, scale along the Z. Yeah, let's scaling Y. Yeah, this is super dangerous, right? Scaling, because I was not seeing. So scaling Z. Okay, apparently there's some boots which are not responding for some reason. I don't know what's going on right now. That's curious. Yeah, it's probably, no, it could be a locked object. It looks like a bone with the lock on edit mode, but very strange. Okay, maybe we need to reselect everything. Okay, let's do this again, right? Scale Z. Okay, let's ignore that boot. It's probably a mirror, failing mirror. Okay, so while she has this 7, not 7.5, 7 and 4 squares, maybe, and it's not a good idea always to simplify, because then you lose the proportion. I'm here for quality of the character design. This is why I need to respect the millimetric proportions. Try to my best to get those things to work. While this character here, Corey, she's got like 6.5. Yeah, we could say 6.5, because this is 8. This is 7, that will be 7, that is 8, and this is 6, so 6 and... Wait. Actually, sorry, incorrect. More than 6.5 is like 6 and yeah, 6 and 75%. So it's like 6 and 0.75. 6 and 3/4 heads tall. This is what I want. I don't remember exactly the process that I use here, but I think what I did, I shrink so the crotch was raised. I think the whole torso was squashed a little. I didn't squash the arms, but I leveraged the shoulders a little. So everything was pushed upwards a little. And then I probably shrinked the legs. Yeah. Squashed the legs even more. Yeah. Okay, so let's... Now we see that we're going to try to look for that thing, but I'm just going to scale along. Okay, gonna make some... So how much of scaling? This is important. Let's say that I want to do just... Yeah, I need to see the... Let's see the... I think the crotch is here. I don't need to match exactly. Okay, let's try this. And then what we can do from this... Probably here we'll get some problems with the arms, so we're gonna raise them. And here... Okay, the arms we can adjust later. But here you see better. Because of the cloth. So this looks okay. And now what we're gonna do is just pick the... Yeah, here we could ignore these assets. But because it's the cloak, so here what we want to do is we're gonna pick this amount. This could cause some problems, but it should work in the end. So we need to... Now we're gonna do again SZ and try to get that... No, we're almost there. No, we're not there. So this is the base of the feet. We see them here. And we're gonna place the base of the feet about here. And this means so this is 8, this is 7, this is 6, this is 6.5 heads tall, and this is 6 3/4 heads tall, according to the circle of her head, which is exactly there, and that didn't move at all. Oops, this is proportional editing. Super dangerous. Okay, minute change here doesn't matter. Alright, so this has dramatically changed the some very dangerous. So to do this with a lot of patience and precision, attention, because this is a destructive method. And now I'll have to make change to the armature, the skeleton, because we don't need the costume now. we're going to have to adjust these bones, but fortunately, except for some bones, I've already saved a backup here. In case you don't know how to save a backup for the yeah, it's save as copy for asset library system. You are working a file that is in the blend file, which is in the asset library system. You save a copy, then you look for an external folder like this one, and then you, like for me is this, and then you look for an iteration. You get this, you save this with an iteration. Yeah, you need to type. So I was in the iteration 23, then you get 24. Ignore this 25, it's a wrong, it's old stuff actually. And so then you save here, change some name here, and actually there's something wrong here. This is a backup. Okay, but I'm not gonna save anything here, just showing. When you save a copy, it doesn't change the current file. That means I've saved a copy of this file, but I didn't go to that newly copied saved file. Now I'm still working this file, and this was not saved actually. So this is what I'm gonna save now. So this is the future. So this is the ongoing process, and the other was saved as copy as a backup. But I have to manage. So it was saved outside of the folder of the directory of the asset. Okay, so you have some critical problems there with some parts of the mesh, but we're gonna try to fix this with the, probably here what we want is to, yeah, we're gonna unsolo all, we're gonna unhide everything. Yeah, unsolo all is done, so I just need to unhide everything. And now I have to reposition some bones here. We are gonna pick everything with the X-ray, or we could just work on one side, right? We're gonna leverage, yeah, first we're gonna leverage these root bones, right? To exactly that point in space. So we could probably use the 3D cursor here for more precision, or snap to grid maybe. So G, okay, we have some, okay, this, yeah, this seems adequate. Yes, this is good. Then we can, this one we don't move. It's like it's still in the, it's a reference of the, because then what we can do in the for this file is that before linking, right, I can reposition the armature object from the real root bone here, but on the floor. And so this bone will, which is parented to the roots, it's the character design root marker for this distance between the abstract floor and the, right? So this is a bit, it took me a while to figure this out, but yeah, I still need to reposition pose the armature object, but then no need to change the skeleton. It's just changing the armature object. So that's basically bring this to here, right? And then when you go back, we just need to reposition this bone exactly on this on the origin, right? And then everything is raised according to the character design, right? Okay, so the grease pencil, which is this file here. Okay, we have to redraw so it's a very good opportunity to make them readjustments to that too, and some cleanup and all that, so that will be interesting. So now we're gonna need to adjust those crazy bones. We don't want this snapping anymore. I could just do one side, right? I have a lot of bone collections there, some for clothing, but like this cloak, probably I don't want to touch the cloaks. But maybe I probably need to match this with the costume. Yeah, probably there was, yeah, they are offset, so yeah, we'll have to make some repositioning there. So we're gonna, yeah, so yeah, we're gonna pick everything here. This will be simpler. Pick all these bones, and we need to, oh no, this part, they are connected bones here. This will be very messy if I, let's see what happens first. No, it's not too much. It kind of works, right? So it's just need to leverage. Yeah, we just need to decide what we leverage and what we do not leverage. Yeah, so probably can leverage. Yeah, this seems adequate enough. Yeah. Then we're gonna try to find the crotch. Okay, somewhat here. This articulation for this thing, maybe we can readjust. There's something very weird about the character design right now. Maybe I shouldn't have scratched that much the torso, but something I would have to do for the torso probably, otherwise. Okay, I need to assess this. It's not too bad, but I think, oh, I know what happened. So probably if we assess here, we see that this, let's see, let's count some heads here. I think the crotch leveraged too much, was leveraged to 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's beyond 3, slightly beyond 3. So, and while here, I imagine this character is slightly taller than her, maybe, so, or the same height maybe, but so yeah, here you see a little mistake here. So we're gonna re-find all the meshes here. Yeah, so you can imagine we can do this forever, right? And never be satisfied. So, but of course, the idea, the whole point here is to fix the worst solutions, right? To solve the, to find what is an approximation that will be good enough, right? And I think I'm almost there, right? So here what we can do is really gonna use proportional editing. Maybe here I can scale S. Yeah, we're gonna push it down. Scale. I need to find where the... Okay, here's the crotch. We're gonna push it more. It's hard to see the... Gonna hide. Okay, it's exactly there. We're gonna push 1 square more, because I think it's about better. And then with that we can readjust then lately without even changing the bones. More millimetric details, they can be adjusted more manually, right? Okay, now if we go back for the... Hopefully I know what I'm doing, what I have here, right? So there are some very weird shapes here that I don't dislike. But so here there's nothing to do. I have to make some manual readjustments. Of course I could use a... There's also some topological mistakes here. No, not topological, some weird rearrangements of the mesh geometry. Because of all these mesh manipulations, right? So some arrangements here got very bad. But we can, yeah, it's a bit tedious, but I'm used to poly modeling, so this on low poly like characters, so this is not a big deal. But it's time consuming, sometimes it's just too annoying. But we can be doing this for a very long time, right? Okay, so here are also some shapes that you have to... So the idea here will be to re-import the backup, so then we could verify the shapes and maybe fix some of these things if we don't want to do this visually. Like it would be like redoing, right? Which is bad. So if you achieved the good shapes before, then it's very likely that, okay, why not use a reference? We could use, yeah, we cannot, it's not a real, it's an approximated reference, because you cannot just place it on top of here, because this one is slightly squashed, so we cannot return the same geometry shapes. We need to have some, you see, it needs to be somewhat adaptive. And here we got a lot of shapes that are a bit distorted. Yeah, flattened, angular stuff, very bad stuff here. So stuff to be fixing, unfortunately. But the most important thing is that we have adjusted the proportions, and by changing these proportions and with the bones also, the waves shouldn't receive any change. Maybe helper bones, in the case of helper bones, that could be a bit complicated. They are more sensitive to this than the skeletal bones. Yeah, it's unlikely I get the good shapes for the character design right now, like straight like that, but I know more or less what's happening here. Her hips got squashed, and then we lost some vertically, right? So then we lost some facilities here, but we can probably get this thing. Now it's almost good, I think. Maybe here we need to expand the move this up. Maybe we need to map also now the position of the knees, right? The knees, yeah, so the knee. Now the knees or the knee, I don't know. So here we got the knees, right? The positioning that I have here, this is need to, so it is like fifth, fourth. Okay, is the, okay, you can calculate from the crotch, right? So 4, 5, so it's between the 4, it's like a little above the 4.5 head. Yeah, so we need to get here. So 4, 5, a little above 4.5. So that means the, yeah, it's not so this is, let's do it again, 3 and yeah, 3, 4, 5. So 4.5 is exactly here, and it's a little above, but not exactly. So it's less, it's like almost, it's a bit more than 4 1/4. 4.5, 4 3/4, 5. So it's about 4 1/4. this is better if you just have some number drawings right here. I have, but it's in the right. See, it's hard to find here. Look at this. It's, I'm not even sure it is there, but it should be. I usually do them. So okay. Yes. So this will be 4 and 1/4. No, it's a little below 4 and 1/4. So even this, although, oh no, this is, you can simplify. This is too, no, this is actually a lot for certain character design. So we are gonna push this knee, or maybe we can expand the whole structure. Yeah, first we're gonna push them down. So we're gonna consider like exactly in the 1/4 here, but then we're gonna half it. So we're gonna place exactly here, and then we're gonna make some rotation. We're gonna scale them like a stretch. Why not? Right, so here. I have the impression that the thigh is a bit too elongated in relation to the shin. So I'm not very satisfied with this. Why I haven't done this then? Let's try. Okay, this probably won't work, right? And now maybe the shin is too elongated. So we're gonna try to find a middle term, like we have this, then we had this. We're gonna try maybe this, yeah. Okay, so it's some arbitrary value, but this is the perception that we need to be very keen in making original character design, right? Artists know that by heart. They instantly realize when something is odd with their own character designs, when they are doing this character design over and over again, of course. Little tweaks here. Since we are looking at this, we are seeing some weird stuff, so why not fix them? Okay, then this, oh, there's some more weird stuff here. Let's try to flatten this thing a little more. Okay, good. I think the hand is still not looking good for the characters, but we're gonna look at that later. Okay, so right now there's a lot of shading issues. No, not shading. There are a lot of texture disruptions in the UV, so you have to, yeah, it's okay. You'll have to rework on that, but now we finally got this new proportion. So I think this is how I used to have the model sheet, the character design much. Oh, there's a lot of problems here. So this we can probably also, yeah, I'm solving like the more grievous problems, right, that I can spot. And I leave the more minutious details for more tweaking later. So as I've said, if the base the base proportions and base shapes are good enough, then this wouldn't have almost no affectation won't affect very much skinning, the waves, the deformings. So that means that we can safely, from a from a stabilized geometry, then we can for the character design, even if it's not perfect, we can already start rigging and make occasional improvements in the geometry, in the shapes, as we keep rigging, wave painting, on all that. Of course, that will be more tragical if we have to use shape keys. If we are using shape keys, then that can suffer a little more than the skinning, the waves. And also, if we have to change topology for whichever reason, sometimes I change topology when I find either for experiments or when I find new approach for certain part of the body. Oh, this is a good thing, that maybe it's better, and then it's okay, we make some small adjustments to the waves, need to make some fixings, sometimes correct some shape keys. They get destroyed with crazy artifacts when we, even if they are not in the actual mesh that is changed. It's very bizarre, but I think it's some bug, right? They need to readdress. But anyways, yeah, so we got, this should be good enough. Yeah, lots of and still not sufficient here. I think we're not gonna raise this a little more. Yeah, retract the doors so region a little. Okay, that should work. Yeah, this silhouette is very important, but this is what we're gonna address now with the model sheet. So the bones, they were in principle fixed, but after we've made these other adjustments, okay, for the arms, right, this is very important. Let's check here what I've done here. So I have one head, two heads. So here it's like one head and a half, one head and 1/4. So it's this, the center of the arm is about exactly to be somewhere like in the one head and 1/4 plus 1 little millimeter square. Yeah, little square, I mean, not a square root. Then here, that means that, let's try to match this there. So I need to do a lot of tests with character design until getting the, I've been doing this, in my case, maybe I'm very bad at making character design, but or assessing the reality of my own character design in a model sheet, in a technical approach, right? I know I used to hate doing these characters, find always very difficult and seldom have, but yeah, even today you see I'm getting confusions on occasion, so it's very weird. Very weird. It's like my characters are mutating all the time. Okay, so here what we need to do, you're gonna find the X-ray. No, we're gonna use this. Okay, so it's one head. So one head and a half. And yeah, the center of the arm, the little square here, right? I'm adding, so the arms are well positioned. So it was an accidental success, right? But probably we could manipulate this Mesh here. Probably we need all the meshes again. Because if I don't get all the meshes again, certainly most likely something bad will happen. Yeah, so I have a problem here is that I need to separate the head again just to prevent some accidents. We are not gonna hide that eyelash this time. You see that this part of the is not is in the T-pose is not raised higher than the upper arm in some point, so it's just some small fixes on the. Yeah, this is clots, right? So we. Oh yeah, I have some hair stuff. Let's. Yeah, so we're just gonna. Yeah, that'll be dangerous. Yeah, a bit dangerous. Okay, so let's just pick some. Let's use verts and let's just try to pick this and just maybe smooth. As it's just sticking too much, right? The shoulder after some readjust. I think this is fine. After the cloth, we can solve that later when we go back to the cloth things. So I'm gonna save here. Let's I think there's nothing else here that I want to look at. Maybe I'd like to check how this model sheet works for this character. It's still good for me also because I'll be able to investigate if I did anything else here for the model sheet, because next topic is to reach the model sheet. So I see this is grease pencil, the hair is fill, just fill. It's a technique with grease pencil I found cool for the features, like especially the hair, some cloth maybe. But okay, so what we have here is that we have if we hide here we can easily find some stuff. Yeah, so this maybe I could append this grease pencil because this is actually what I did to the original Dorothy. This is actually a good reference for me. Yes. So let's do this because this I did with patience. I did very carefully, more than I did it this time, but it's almost the same process. We can, okay, then we have a layer for this cloth, but this doesn't matter. Then we have another for, yeah, front view, side view, right? And then we have the hair, which is this strokes with fill and like that. So very simplified stuff, right? Just my character design. I don't focus too much on costume. I find it super hard to get original, great, good-looking costume. It's not the thing that I'm super inspired to make. Like I always lack ideas and in drawing, so I like to draw body, motion, gesture, facial expressions. I don't like to draw clothing, accessories in general. It's very, very weird. I like to draw some weapons sometimes, but trees, I like to draw stones, landscapes, rocks, yeah. But there's stuff that I just don't don't like to draw this. It's very weird. I think vicious character design aspects of mine, so it's not good, right? It's good to be able to appreciate and explore all kinds of shapes, right? And things, right? Okay, so what I'm doing here, so we need this Cori model sheet grease pencil object from this file. So what we're gonna do is that we're going to other project. Okay, I see where it is. And we need to, okay, I'm not gonna save this. We just need to find the, yeah, okay, got it. So I'm gonna close this Blender file. Finally, we're not gonna expand this one, and we're going to now look into something else about these bones. Yeah, looks like we need to reposition again. Okay, but no big deal here. We're gonna just pick these ones, and if they move as a block, then there is no yeah, stretch 2 bone constraints could be stuck in some crisis, so I'll have to reassess them. But this we'll see in the rig, right? These cloak bones, we'll have to refine them, but this is more, I think this is simpler. Let's see. Yeah, just a basic adjustment, right? I think we have the... Here I have a collection, yeah. Costume. That will... Yeah, this will be good. Of course, I'm not seeing very well what I'm doing in 3D here, so you're getting some bad results still. Probably here what we want is just some snapping, right? So for now, we're just gonna... I'm not sure if if the cloaks are... There are 2 cloak assets. I think the only thing that changes is the materials. So it's actually stupid. I need to make the variation would be better of the geometry to diversify the costumes, right? Okay, this fixing here should be sufficient for now. These skirt bones, they are not ready, so I'm not gonna even bother them now. Okay, we got this thing. Some bones here have very strange arrangement. Their bone length, they are all messed up. Yeah, still will work, but it's not good practice. What is... the body is shrink wrapped to Okay, let's see. What is... this is the... No, it's not the eyebrow. Okay, it's not the hair, it's not the mouth, it's not anything on the eyes. Something... Yeah, it's some crazy shrink wrapping, I think. Or it's some bone. Okay, no, it's not a bone. It's not shrink wrapping. This looks like a UV map, right? Yes, it's a UV map, but... Okay, looks like the body got corrupted or something. I have no idea what's this. Let's hide. This looks like some sort of a face. It's a plane. Where is this from? Okay, I don't know what's this. Just gonna delete. Possibly a duplicated face, accidentally duplicated face, or... I hope I haven't separated the face from something, but we're gonna eventually find it. Something weird in the future. All right, so now we could test. We are able to test now that leg, but it's kind of hard because we still have rigging things to do, but rigging issues. But now we should probably get... Yeah, so you see we have some persisting problem regarding the proportion. Despite the fact that I shrink the legs, it's it's like... Yeah, she was a bit too tall anyways, I think. So I think this is good enough for now, but of course all my thinking was actually, I was suspecting about this, right? It's actually pretty simple. It's not pretty simple, but actually, of course, what's happening is that just the sheen is too elongated. That's just like this, and then this happens. If I were to draw this pose, that should be the best thing to do, right? Return to the art, right? Form. So it could be, if we get some annotations. Let's delete this. Press D, hold right mouse button for the brush. Okay, so if I were to draw this profile, so here we might have to stick the thing here, and she'll be doing let's try again. More sketchy. Yeah, you see, so I never care about calculating this, right? Because it's like but yeah, so does it mean that I need to shrink this even more? So I could try a annotation doesn't have circle, right? Okay, no problem. We have the C. Okay, let's cheat a little. Let's make this exactly there. Okay, so the ankle. No, that's not cheat. Okay, really, where should this be? It is here, right? Okay, it is there. Let's say not the ankle, but the back of the foot, right? A bit more than that. Alright, so I have a few options here. So this is what I need to do. So maybe I could have kept all these leg big, large, but whatever. I have already changed this. She works like that too, this character, so I could keep the tallness for others. That's actually positive. I'm okay with this. Unless I find new stuff, but anyways, it's very important now to fix this proportion in this 3D character adaptation. So what I need to do is that this is the almost, yeah, and this is already an extrapolation, and see this is super extrapolated, so I need less than, so I need something like this. The foot needs to, you see, I'm looking at the foot there, this foot, right? I'm looking at this. So this will be, of course, if the leg return to the rest pose, right? As we have in the right leg behind, right? We see both legs here. This will be one step from this creepy tool that I'm using for this, but okay, a perfect circle, right? So here I cannot have smooth iterations, unfortunately. See, no, I don't have these shortcuts. So I cannot iterate this with hold, control, anything. It's just the, yeah, it's just mouse wheel scroll. So I have to imagine. Ah, something changed. No, I don't know what happened, but it seems that... Never mind, I really don't know. Okay, so... Okay. This matched the foot. Exactly, this matched the floor. So see, it's very... it's identical. Now, then if I half this, if I reduce here's one step, still not how I would draw. Ignore that I've drew the foot like inclined, right? Imagine it is flat. Just because it's easier to draw that pose like that, it's more natural, right? So I can have a better sense of what I'm doing. So if the floor was there where the circle is at the very bottom, when the circle meets the bottom, that will still not be the good floor for this shin, but that could work. It is just a bit more, right? And the advantage of doing this is that I will match exactly one of those. If it's not here, it's just a little above, right? So it's like possibly we can. It's a lot, but it's not like I couldn't. Yeah, it might be actually. It might be better actually to not ignore this, because where I drew is already slightly exaggerated. More than that, that's already. It's not as much as it was, but it will still be slightly odd. I don't like it. So we're gonna insist. We're gonna have to persist in the notion that we want indeed yeah, for example, here what we have here is still not the here for some reason. Oh yeah, okay. So exactly here we can reduce a little. It is, as you can see, it's basically one big square of difference. So you're gonna use a half of this square exactly here. So it's just jumping from where it was one square up. So this is the reducing of the ankle. Yes. So we're gonna do this new very important finding. So we're gonna need to very well memorize this because I didn't note anything about that. So we're just going to make these manipulations with the costumes as well, because that will be good. Select all, edit mode. Let's make sure we got to select all this mesh with the X-ray, and this will be, yeah, I'm gonna pick all of these. And that foot, I have to find out why it is not moving. We are not gonna manipulate the knee. But we're gonna get this mesh here. Okay, we got the wrong ones, yeah. This needs to be excluded because I don't want to add the cloak, which is behind, right? Alright. So we're gonna... I should have an annotation for the save here. And... yeah, the foot, we see it there. We're gonna use the 3D cursor here and we're gonna squash this. Squashing could be dangerous. Yeah, a little. So GY, no, GZ. Proportional, yeah. Hold on. Too much, yeah. Tension. GZ. Yeah, a little of this, a little less maybe. Connected only maybe. GZ, okay. We need to bring that. This is, looks like too much, right? But this is what it is. Yeah, it is like bringing it exactly here. Something, yeah, just the some cloth acid that got distorted too much, but that's okay. This is not this one that I need to retake anyways, hardly. So it's not it's an armor thing for a space marine costume. All right. Now the important thing, I need to absolutely see if I didn't destroy the the anatomy here. And yeah, apparently with this we had it caused massive disruption here. And but the good news is that if I fix, yeah, I'm ignoring the clothes here because this is getting a bit tricky. I can reduce, right, the length of the knee, right? But I think what will be better to do is just to stretch this whole thing. So I'm gonna doing from bottom up, right? So I'm not changing the calf length, the shin length. I'm just, I could possibly here I can do something about the knees, right? These orientations, they seem to be wrong. We could try to simplify some stuff here also. There's something on the joint to revise later, but okay. Here with proportional editing we can do a good job. Yeah, this mesh got really messed up, but it's not too hard to fix. You can still visualize the geometry where it is, so it was not a terrible collapsing in the end. Not super. It could have been much worse, right? The vertices, the faces didn't start crossing. It was dangerous, but like dangerous, diabolic, right? You start to see this very crushed mesh is like scary to fix. This one is no big problem for me. Okay, this is not very nice, right? So here we're gonna revalidate these shapes here and this arrangement. We could take the advantage of this to see if we could make better, even better shapes than I had before for the knees, right? But I'm not sure. Probably I've lost some quality that will need some generic readjustments, right? Oh, I see what's happened. Why? It's because there are some different orientations here of, and actually this is very incorrect. Actually, this part should be more squashed. I just need to try not to lose the reference of the height of the knee, right? It didn't change too much, right? Unfortunately, I sort of lost a bit of the tracking of where exactly the knee started and ended. But the important thing, we had this drawing, right? So maybe this is actually very inaccurate. Okay, so probably have to do something about this. Okay, the knees will be somewhere like here. So the idea here I've seen in a tutorial, not sure that, not a tutorial, but an assessment of some other rigs. So there's an interesting topology, not a geometry arrangement, that you make these ones on the back further away, so more space to collapse. Very simple, right? But actually maybe good, maybe efficient. I haven't seen, it's not necessary, but so you see they start to, this doesn't mean that we make the knee itself will become shrinked, squashed, but it means that this, the subdivisions here, the face loops here, would tend to be closer between themselves than the ones in the bottom part, because the bottom part in this simple joint bends in just one direction. So yeah, so we can do this especially for simple joints where they're bending, there's a main direction of bending, right? This angle bends, right, the limb. But this strategy is just good for this, because I think in the case of the hips type joint, which rotates in all directions, all orientations, crazy. It's intermediate joints, wrist, ankle, neck, on the base of the head, on the base of the neck. These are rotate also in lots of wild directions. So these intermediate joints, as I call them, they also, we could try something like that, but then you need to see, okay, what is there any more favorite direction of bending? Maybe it could work for the spine as well. So in doubt, don't do it, leave it straight. So, but here there's no reason to have too many doubts, right? It's just a simple joint. So this will collapse as this triangle, the shape, it's not it's a diamond. Actually, it's an arrow quad. I call it arrow quad. Yeah, so this arrow quad here, this suggests already, it could be a trigon, but it's a arrow quad. This already suggests that this big face here, it would be a big face if it was not yeah, it even have a, yeah, this big face would collapse. So they are bigger, lot of space for collapsing. Here we could do a better job here, perhaps. And here this will stretch as the limb bends, right? So that means that we could have this very collapsed by default in their rest position, which is what I'm doing here, trying to approximate this mesh, but there's not enough subdivisions here, so there's nothing nothing much to do right here, right? But what you'll see in the end is this kind of orientation, sort of funneling about like here, right? Towards a point, right? Imaginary point in space, all right? So because we squash so much this limb already, we can probably reduce a little this even though ideally we should look at this with the subdivision surface modifier, yeah, to be sure. Yeah, that's probably it. I shouldn't have done. Yeah, a little should be fine, right? We can smooth this, right? And good. That should be fine. We can also readjust some shapes here. Not really seeing very well what I'm doing here, but I'm gonna revise everything here for the best shapes. And we're gonna address the model sheet as well. So we will be able to already give a revision from the perspective of the model sheet, right? Now it looks like terrible for me. So it's like always a back and forth. It's always seems that something is wrong. Okay, you can delete this note annotations. It feels like her legs are a bit too short, but maybe it is an illusion because let's see the front view. Yeah, this. I have a lot of problems here with these hips. I think that we got some bad exaggerations here. I don't know when this happened. Yeah, this will take a little more time to fix, but we're gonna just get the very basic, just that I can recognize my own character design well enough. Okay, this is already starting to work. All right, then let's do something here. Maybe I need to shape this in a way that I can actually see that. I think this character design has the knee a little more elongated, and this maybe this is what's causing some oddness. So I'm gonna try to. Yes, okay. And here, of course, the shapes, the UVs, disrupted UVs, are certainly not helping in assessing the geometry, right, very well, the proportions. But for now we can survive with this. All right. So yeah, I'll ignore the closed assets. We're gonna fix them alongside the. Here we'll have to make a lot of adjustments to some boots. Now it's time to, I need to see what's this thing that the boots weren't changed. So it's not this one. The only change that I'm gonna make for this one, no, I'm gonna leave it this. When I readdress the clothes, I'll do this. Okay, so space agent. This one is good. This one is good. So it's this one that it's the weird stuff. So what's going on with this mesh here? Why it is real okay. It was on a basis. Yeah, it was locked and we were here. That is why it failed to adapt. Okay, but we can probably can do yeah, also you need to have some redisplay. Yeah, the size, the scale is a bit bizarre. Yeah, need to let's save. And I just want this. Okay, so all right, the way this is bent here, this doesn't require shape key, but I'm still investigating approach for this. This is because in this way we can rig the flat foot as the base. The character can have or not have the high heels, where she doesn't need to be wearing the high heel boots, which also, yeah, it's a versatility. Okay, and this is very distorted, but this there are some tutorials, but they are very different. There are different approach to this solution. I have already posted something about this in some, or there's some highlight somewhere on. Unfortunately, this is, yeah. So this is not a problem here. What I have is I have a custom property that is a high heel stance. Actually, we can play it, and that will leverage this will be this when the boots when she is wearing. So it's we need to run a script here, and then just because it's easier to find the custom property here in the not meta rig, the bone manager rig UI, right? Okay, where is this thing? Okay, I need of course, here it is. Alright, so here is the rig UI, rig dynamic panel. Yeah, so here we have, so by default this is 1. And of course here there are some problems because of the change that I've done, but what's happening is just that what is happening, probably just some bones that are, yeah, the fit bones need some repositioning after the things that I've done. So this is not good for rigging. This is just good for animation, right? So for rigging we leave this off, and then we have these rest positions, right? So it's a driver that will affect the bone roll and some limit. It's just one. I think there's the toes roll. I think it affects the limit and the copy rotation. I think of no, just the limit. I think so. It established that the beginning is like already bent. So it's actually not too complicated. More complicated thing is actually in my opinion, is okay, how do I wave, what do I wave paint this thing out? So does it need a shape key? There are solutions with only shape keys, I think. And this is not even necessary, I think, but I was playing with that, so the rest position of the boot is that, so it's like you need to distort the boots, like to not distort necessarily, you need to, yeah, I need to distort the boot a bit. It's like you need to deform the boot already in the rest position and have the high heel to penetrate the ground, and then when she leverages when the high heel stands, then this will naturally be on the flat post. Then the problem is that this line might be a bit difficult to get it flat as, right? So there's a counterpart here, pros and cons of this technique, right? All right, let's continue here and let's look for the, what was it? The bones, right? The bone on the foot, which needs some developments because they are very, they are very displaced right now. So all the bones are here apparently. No, not all of them were here. So we're gonna just pick everything again. Actually, we're gonna pick these ones and gonna snap to the grid. We're gonna try to look for, I think I did this on purpose, right? Okay, so okay, exactly here. I can hide them now. This one, what are you doing here? Go back to the world origin. So it's a grease pencil floor, like this, right? The character is floating. So then all these bones, yeah, easy, very easy. And here we just gonna try to find the disposition for the ankle joint, mostly somewhere like here, I guess. I think it's more like here. But then the deformed bones for the toes don't look good. I think this is fine. Okay. And yeah, a lot of bone constraint will be disrupted here, but we'll see them when it comes to posing occasionally. Then we can start to visualize what is the okay, and of course we don't want, wait, I have the rig UI. What can I do here? Just control bones. Okay. Okay, so now I think we have some okay-ish proportion. Let's hide these boots. These terrible artifacts are happening for reasons that don't matter now, because we did a lot of yeah, it's probably the stretch to bone constraint with our crazy, but you see, when it comes to that proportional thing, it was fixed. So this was a huge problem of character design. And so now what I need to be aware when doing these characters is always try to anticipate this this issue. It could occur also something like this for the arm, but the arms usually I didn't have too many problems with that. Okay, so I'm not gonna fix the bone constraints here because it's we can not batch, but we can do this in another round of adjustments. Let's go back to the plan here. Let's see if there is... Yeah, so here is some good notes here, right? So character, wrist pencil. So basically the issue is shin, calf, leg bending, extrapolating, buttocks. Yeah, disproportion, I think that word exists in English. Okay, so here we got like need to map circle, yeah, arc. Calculating, I mean artistically. Yeah, the lower leg. That's it. So that is the way that you need to be very careful. Floor, yeah. So let's say yeah, so I need to map this this idea of circle. Okay, this is intuitive and it's crappy. You know what that is. So, if I knew that before, and for that this would cause so much trouble, then I would have. I always do this strangely. Yeah, I always did this for the arms. Like I know that the hands, if we usually the hands, the tip of the fingers, they need to sort of reach the beginning, a little above the beginning of the knee, about there. It feels like to me anatomically here it's a little, the arm would be too short, but when you visualize the character design from the T-pose, this looks actually that it is already too long, the arm. So it's just that she doesn't have too much reach, especially if the legs are too elongated, and also the torso, right? So that's why I still feel like I'll have to make some more retakes on the not this stuff, of course, this is sure, but on the proportions But then I would be able to whichever new proportions I might make for the lower body, right? I will try to adjust anything here while preventing again the same mistake. So it's apparently is just that I need to calculate this this arc here and see where it leads. So it's a bit hard to imagine, right? Because let's say this is very interesting. Let's try to get some conclusion here, conclusive effect. So let's say that I have the okay, this will give me what I had, which was something like this, which was favorable, right? I can test right now, doesn't matter. I won't test right now, it doesn't matter. So it was something like that, maybe a little less even, but okay. I've drawn in front on purpose. But what if I elongated the legs a little more as they were? Let's say like here. Assuming that then the knee will be here. And feet, let's say here. So I pushed them into the ground. What would happen then to these proportions? Well, if I expanded. Oh, I didn't know this is still pressing. Okay, anyways. By expanding only the legs, assuming this won't disrupt everything, I think they need still a need. But okay, then of course this will also stretch. And what happens is that if we bend this now, let's use from this point. Yeah, here I got this. Almost got it. Let's try again. There's some here. Not too bad. Yes. So if we expand the leg, they compensate, right? As long as the thigh and the shin expand, they stretch or squash together. If they retain the proportion. So my problem, yeah, there is a problem of a problematic involving the proportions of the lower body to upper body. This is another question. I need to be very aware of about the proportions of the legs between themselves, right? This is the leg inside the leg itself, right? So it's actually, there's another thing here to consider. Where's this note? Okay, the notes are also the real question is the proportion of the lower body, essentially the leg, thigh plus shin plus, okay, feet plus let's say yeah, hips, let's say like this. essentially the whole leg. It's having a good correct, yeah, correct proportions of the indifferently, yeah, from her body than thought. And so then we gotta get the hard to think here. This the next step to remember here is that so as long as proportions, leg proportions are right in themselves, pin will never extrapolate. That's it. So it's essentially test in advance. Yeah, that's it. All right. So these are like long-term support. So if for character design, it might be look stupid, tedious, but this is actually there are so many things at some point to reflect on that if you don't take these notes, might eventually forget. So I need more practice also, but at some point getting those information right, writing helps, right? Reading also helps, not just watching tutorials, right? It's a different story. Alright, but this is good enough. Now let's check what was the title of my Dorothy Regal templates. I don't see the... Okay, I'll try to remember here what is the topics that matter. So there's the armature repositionings. Is there something here that might be wrongly positioned? Again? No, this is correct. It's just that these bones are positioned exactly here indeed. This is normal because this is just here. Okay, they are approximatively correct. So we got essentially everything there in place. Okay, whatever, fuck that. I'm gonna check the title because system is not helping here. Wiggle bones, okay, and wave paint, okay. So the wiggle bones that I want to address, we're gonna make some additional wiggle bones that are supportive for the the jiggle physics, right? Some that I for some reason haven't even forgot. Yeah, but we're gonna add them. So we have here for the boobs, the breast region, We don't have for the buttocks. We could create that. It's typical. And there's another ones that are interesting that I just figured out they could work, but actually it's a technique that already exists, so I'm just reproducing in my own way. So basically it would be for this flesh here. Not sure if I would like for the belly. This character is too skinny. Maybe could be interesting, but we could use for the ears. Why not? These are not... Okay, we could just write down like they have physics. Yeah, so limbs wiggle physics. Okay, this is what we're gonna address now. We're gonna also get yeah, limbs. It's 4 limbs. And ears. This is experimental, so we might not test this thing. Yeah, since we're here, we're gonna make the test. Okay, but these are already posable, right? So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna create some bones here. I remember the setup. I haven't found it in other characters, so it's very simple. We bring a physics bones which already exist. So we could use the big ones. Yeah, let's use the big ones. So and to check the color here. Okay, this could be a good topic. It's very simple, but it's actually interesting. So we go bones for limbs setup. Yeah. So basically what we have here is that I'm gonna duplicate this bone here. Let's not duplicate with this option. We're gonna align this with the mechanism bone of the upper arm, and we're gonna place it somewhere exactly onto the joint of the bone, right? We're gonna try to place it exactly in some spot. Let's use the normal. Okay, we're gonna try to place it exactly on some spot where when this bone rotates, right, it will rotate along its z-axis, right? It will wiggle like that. It will cause some deforms from the joint. Of course, it doesn't really matter the length of the bone here. It really matters is where the weights will be, and I believe where the head joint is. So the head joint is here, so that's why this bone should and you're gonna make it very thin so it's less confusing. Here I'm not sure what kind of bone shape it could have. What is least confusing? Yeah, this one is, I think it's still the the best, right? So we're gonna do this and we'll call it def. No, this is physics. Physics for the arm. Physics 4. Upper arm left. So this already had by default it taken the, if that word exists, the, we go to add-on properties of that particular hair bone, which maybe it's not the ideal for this limb, but we need to parent it to something. We're gonna just parent it to the, yeah, we're gonna, yeah, let's realign. It's already aligned, so we're gonna just parent it here. And let's see if we have any. The bone is not changing, so maybe I need to reset the, probably need some, well, the physics should let's see, reset physics. Physics seems a bit stiff everywhere, so I'm not sure what's going on right now, but okay, so maybe this is a bit too stiff, so we're gonna reduce this. Okay, now this could work. We could try to define the way it wiggles. No, it's, yeah, like we're gonna get this like 300, whatever. Mass, maybe we augment this mass here. Alright, then we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna keep it simple. They have no waves yet, so align GY, we're gonna sort of place it there. Okay, then parenting, and we're going to symmetrize them. Maybe this one we're gonna make some, yeah, let's augment a little the stiffness of this one, and also just the dampening as well. Okay, the gravity and the mass will leave the same, and you're gonna can probably symmetrize this too. Yeah, no, not yet. We're gonna change here as forearm left. Now we're gonna symmetrize. Now we're gonna duplicate. We're gonna bring this one to the align here. There's a, oh, there's a control tie. This is a mistake. Okay, let's enable this and let's change this mechanism. No, this is not a good way to do this. We need mechanism skeleton here. This will symmetrize because you have this now. Okay, then here we're gonna parent to die, and this parent to mechanism shin, right? Mechanism die, mechanism shin. Okay, align this with whichever, and this align with, yeah, let's just do this. Then we're gonna pick this, place it there, pick this, place it there. This one I'm not sure if I've done it, but we wanna place it about here, right? This could be more complex, right? But I think one should be enough. Place it here, and this one we're gonna place it this is a problem of stretching, but we're gonna, there are many bones. I haven't mapped each one that is holding, so yeah, this is very up, very high, right in the thigh, so somewhere like here. And then we're gonna rename this, so physics 3 pin left. Yeah, already symmetrize this. We're gonna retain the same properties from the upper, from the arm, but if it's not good enough, then we make some changes. This is not a wiggle bone. Why it is here? No, it's not a wiggle bone, this one, so indeed. Wait, unsure? No, it is not. So it just has a old color, maybe. Yeah, old color. Probably we'll get the automation if we get some keyframing, right? They seem to refuse to have some motion, but it's all there. Maybe too much dampening. Not about the forms here, they don't have waves yet. Alright, so here don't need to press Alt. I could just copy to selected, right? And let's reduce this a little more. Okay, now I see something. Okay, so we're gonna simplify here. We're gonna just pick all this and get this as well, and then we're gonna pick this one as a reference and copy settings to selected. Yeah, and maybe now we're gonna reduce even more this, and maybe now this, and this thing we're gonna risk a little less. Yeah, these motions should be very subtle, I think, especially the for example this. Okay, you see, much less stiff. So maybe this is good enough, yeah, for a starter. So at least we have the bones. Then we need to make now something about, let's use the reference of the physic boob here, and we're gonna also duplicate it. Gluteus, and we're gonna get it gluteus left. So just one should be enough. We're gonna Alt F, reset its role. So the problem is that I don't have these will steal waves. This could be very dangerous. I would have to maybe batch this physics to bones that relate to the buttocks. I don't remember a solution for this, because there are a lot of helper bones here that could be. But of course, if we just wait a little, that should cause the already some effect without in spite of stealing waves. So it's not like the end of the world. So what we could here, let's see what we did here. We did use this as a bendy bone. No, yeah, it's a bendy bone. Like, no, B-bone display, right? So keep it at a B-bone display. I will just parent this to the offset to the mechanism tie here. No. This rotation can be dangerous. Yeah, it will. What to do with this thing? Maybe should parent it to the helper rig here. Maybe to the lower spine, maybe to the... I'm kind of unsure here. Let's check these wiggle settings, however, on pose mode. Looks like they don't have anything, right? So we're gonna just have to get them some. I'm gonna use the same settings here. This is not too hard to investigate later on, but here. So by its stealing waves. Okay, there's a chance we could parent all the helper bones, not the skeletal bones, but we could parent all the helper bones to this bone, or create some additional bone control. I think the parenting is the best here. So I'm gonna make this a bit exaggerate so you remember this idea of parenting. We'll parent this to the pen tie. Yeah, so it's like more likely here, right? And then if we parent all the other bones to this, not only they will just, instead of being parented to this, they will be forced to follow this one. And so when this wiggles, then all the setup wiggles, and so this bone will not even maybe need to be. The problem is that this bone will not wiggle. And of course, this bone does other things, so it shouldn't wiggle. Actually, some bones helper. Yeah, the problem is that some waves on the buttocks, the gluteus, they are present on the hips bone, the spine, and the thigh. So this is very complicated, but since I can't do much about these bones, I won't not make them wiggle, right? I think they won't be. They already are very constrained in other ways, so there's nothing to do about them. Their shared waves are too going everywhere, so I have to just steal waves from just this region, mesh region of the gluteus, and then we just will make some of the bones be wiggled. Of course, the ones on perhaps the side, we need to be well focusing on what will wiggle, and then by stealing waves should be enough. Maybe you don't even need to parent anything to this in the end, but anyways, we'll have to make many tests. So for now, we have it copied. Okay, parent is correct. We're gonna check. Yeah, I already copied here. No bone constraint, so we need just to symmetrize, and there we go. So also we can get these physics bones, and if I'm not wrong, all of these physics bones, they are present in the wiggle control. Wait, what is this? Crutch. Okay, this crutch is still. Let's take this off from. Here, all right. Alright, so get all these bones and we're gonna make sure they are in the Lego physics. Yeah, because sometimes we might want to manipulate these bones or their splines. Yeah, their motion, right? Their track motion. So that's why we might want to have them accessible in the rig UI. I've done this, but maybe this one's not really necessary. I think there's a difference between this and the other. Unsure now, but the fact is that here's the rig UI. You have the I've made sure to place this as wiggle here. Okay, of course this is not how this is done. We need to do some tricks here. And so the wiggles, they are here. So they are actually, some would be actually controlled, especially, yeah, the hair, especially we can, with auto IQ option, can do a lot of manipulations here. And the others I don't, yeah, they are not work. Yeah, the cloak I think is working, one of them at least. But yeah, crazy stuff, good. So here we're gonna go back then to the, I've just remembered something. Okay, so we got this done. We're gonna delete this thing. We got this done. We just need to wave paint those, right? And the ears experimental, right? So the ears, to do this experimentally, we just need to, yeah, whatever. Let's pick very stiff. Let's move this to Shift M. Actually, these are control ear, right? We are not gonna accept this. We're gonna actually to physics. Then we're going to change their colors. This is the color for, I think I was using for some of these more basal ones. I don't know, doesn't matter now. So I'm gonna just bring this to Alt M. Yeah, no, actually Shift M. I'm gonna just add them to the physics and to the yeah, but they are still in the control rig. Oh, I forgot to assign them as well. So then we bring the some collection like that. Bring the animation. Let's select, yeah, one of these ones, maybe like behaving like a hair. Okay, then copy to set, yeah. Let's inspect what's could be going on here. We don't seem to be very sluggish for some reason. Well, I'm streaming on all that, right? So okay, there's some reaction there, but reset physics, let's see. Okay, anyways, these are other problems. We just created the bones and gave them some questionable, arguable wiggle bone properties. They should work already to some extent. Now, wave painting, well, I think I'm not gonna do this topic today after all this. And we'll have to fix this. I'm not gonna even note this because this is very... So the character here has lots of improvements for these very basal stuff that were lagging behind. I should finish the stream by now, but let's just see what could be an interesting topic for another session. If there's... oh, there's just the grease pencil. Yeah, so I needed to assess, yeah, like a pen, grease pencil, or just link, right? Now, pen will be better, right? To it's like... see, all retakes, I could be in conditions to make these retakes in the next session. So this is a big topic, need focus on drawing and grease pencil. So drawing on computer, drawing on grease pencil, it's kind of difficult. So for me, so append grease pencil, Corey, for adjustments, yeah, for... okay, that's it. That will be the big thing maybe for tomorrow. That if I can fix everything here, that will be great, and we get rid of all the grease pencil and get the very much updated this whole thing here. So the current findings suggest that theoretical findings, right, suggest that, well, we can have very elongated legs for her, for this, as long as the relation between the thigh and the shin is not dramatically bad, as for example in this case it might be, because if I make the same test here, we'll picking not the center of the knee but the bottom part, and then we'll see that if I try to reach the base of the foot, look where it goes. It's almost, it's bypasses the height of the navel. So it's like, it's super high, right? So this is what was causing the problem. And of course, anatomically speaking, I'll have to see myself, or maybe a video, what happens to the knee when it bends, because like that, exaggeratedly, of course. If it, let's say, yeah, it seems that it sticks out, and so then there's some motion of bones, of course, rotation stuff, but in principle it seems that the bulk here, the mass changed positions, but essentially it stays about this. The knee stays more or less where it is when the leg bends. So in this case, what is happening is that the shin in relation to the shin and the foot, right? In relation to the thigh is too elongated. So this part is too, so you need to shrink that to maybe about this, not too much, right? This could already do the job. And then we can downscale both if we feel like, or upscale both if we exaggerate more, but so this is what matters. So this is good training, folks, if anyone is struggling with this character design adaptations. And so here we can compare a lot of stuff already and see, yeah, I'll need to bring the other character design. Then we'll be able to check everything, and maybe I try to draw, yeah, ideally I should draw more sketch like this one and try to finally get with this new approach here, small improvements, small technique, right? Then calculating the arcs there, then we can find the ideal or an improved interpolation, let's say, that's between this result and this result. And then we finally will see if we need to expand these legs, the torso or not. I'll make some sketch stuff there, and we're gonna get this thing fixed at once. Then we'll have probably the final update on this grease pencil for the Dorothy rigged model template on this decade. Yeah, maybe that, because maybe I don't know what will happen next decade. Well, no one knows for sure. So folks, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, take care, and happy blendering. Hope that was interesting. Good luck on your projects, have a nice week.